Hi and welcome to my channel. This is my very first video. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nail tech from Canada. I've been doing nails for about 3 or 4 years now. And today I'm going to show you how I fill my own nails. The reason I'm doing my own nails and not one of my clients is because at the moment the world is going through the coronavirus and it's not really time to be working on people. So let's go ahead and I'll just show you. So my nails here are about 4 weeks old. I don't get to do them as often as I used to or as much as I'd like to. And that's just because of how busy I am. I'm also a hairstylist, so that takes up quite a bit of my time. And also my hands are in water a lot. So you can see this nail is actually lifting quite a bit. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll show you later in the video how I repair lifted nails. So let's get started. This is the Silkline 100/100 grit. I prefer them in the salon. They're super durable, and I find that they don't get dull. Like some nail files will get dull. They also come in a plastic pack, so they're sanitary, and I never reuse any of them on other clients. So one file per client, and they're great. I really like them. Also, they have a really sharp edge. So I've actually been cut by this edge. When I was in nail school, I actually cut a couple of clients with this edge until somebody told me, like, you really want to file these off. And I just take another nail file that I've designated especially just for removing the edges. And I'll show you how I do that in a second. I'll just grab another one here, unwrap it. Okay, here we go. So I'll just show you. I just take the file in one hand and then I file the rough edge off. And you want to really make sure that it's smooth to the touch. And I'm not filing the top or bottom flat surface. I'm just doing the sides, like the edges of the file. So I'm going to get started on filing my nails, and I always start with my thumbs. I don't know why, I just always do. And I always start at the cuticle. I'm going to fast forward through most of it just because it takes me a while to get all the color off. And that's all I'm doing is I'm just removing the color from the gel. I also got this brush from the dollar store. It's great for removing dust. It's really fine. It's soft, so it's not going to cause any irritation to the cuticle area while you're working around that area, and probably causing some irritation anyway. You shouldn't be, but you never know. So I'm just going to keep filing and dusting. Like I said, it does take me a while, and I'm going to fast forward through the rest of my nails. I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of how my process goes. Here you can see my cuticle area isn't really roughed up, and I've just removed the color from around that area so that I can focus on the main body of the nail. I try my best to avoid the natural nail behind the gel, just because you can cause hot spots in the nail where you file too thin, and that can be really uncomfortable in the future, especially when you're putting product on. Anybody who knows anything about gel knows that it has a heat spike, meaning that the molecules within the product, they collide and they connect so quickly that it causes a friction within the product itself. Sorry, I keep kind of going out of frame. So what I'm actually doing is just filing the surrounding or like the edges of the nail and working my way in. And I do that because the edges of the nail tend to be on the thinner side, so you really want to be careful in those areas, whereas the top, where your apex is or where the arch of the nail is thicker. So I'm not so worried about taking that down whereas I'm worried more about touching the sides too much. And when you're all done filing, you want to remove all the dust and any debris, and just to see if there's anything left behind. These are my favorite cotton pads to use, the Dellen cotton pads. They're 100% cotton. I pick them up at Costco. They're usually a pack of 8 sleeves. I like them because they're double-sided, and I'll show you that in a second. There's the mesh on the side, and the other side is smooth, so it's more like a traditional cotton pad. And this side you can see it has like a mesh, if I can get it, there we go, like a mesh on it. And I find it's really good for picking up product left behind or dust. I'm going to use it with some rubbing alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol I should say, just to remove the dust from the surface of the nail. And it's really important, especially when you're going to apply new product, you want to make sure that the nail is clean and dry and that there's no residue, because that can actually inhibit the product from sticking to your nails. I'm going to go ahead and file the rest of these off camera so that you're not watching me file my nails for an hour and a half. See you in a second. And here they are, all nice and clean. The cuticle area looks really good, no irritations really. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So over here, this nail is lifted like I had mentioned previously. I'm going to show you how I remove that. And I'll show you how I push my cuticles back after as well. I know a lot of fellow nail techs are probably going to cringe at what I'm about to do, or they're going to be screaming at their screens. And the only reason why I decide to clip it instead of filing it away is because when it's so much lifting, it just takes so long to file it. So I clip as much of the lifting product away first, and then you'll see me go back in with the nail file. I will do some of the filing off camera just because I like to be up close and personal with it, so that I'm not damaging my natural nail. There's a nice big chunk there. It's so satisfying to watch clip off, but I have been hit in the face by it. There's another little piece right here. As long as I don't hit my clients in the face with flying projectiles, I don't mind clipping. So I did my best to get as much of the lifting off as I could. And the reason why you want to remove the lifting is that if there's any air pockets, bacteria can get trapped in there, water can travel through there, it can cause lifting in the future, so you really want to pay attention and remove all of it. And now I'm actually going to go ahead and push my cuticles back. I don't normally have a lot of cuticle, uh, and if you don't know what cuticles are, it's just dead skin that grows down onto your natural nail. And the reason why I don't usually have cuticles is because when I was younger, I used to push them back a lot, and I don't know if that actually is the reason why, or if just genetically I don't have that much. I'm going to do it anyway just so that you can see how I do it. And I like the square edge the most. Most people use the rounded edge, but I prefer having the square edge to do like the side walls here, and to make sure that you get all the dust and all the dried skin and cuticle debris out. So I'm going to fast forward because the nipping's not that satisfying where I don't have a lot of cuticle to nip away. Once that's done, I'm going to get the nail files that I used before, and I'm actually going to use the clean nail file instead of the dirty nail file. I don't know why, I just felt like using it, probably because it was a little bit rougher. Also, I don't really want to be pushing that old nail color into my nice clean natural nail. I'm going to use the rounded edge of the file to rough up the natural nail in the cuticle area. It's not a large area, so it's not going to take much, and you don't have to use a lot of pressure, but you want to go up and down with the natural grain of the nail. And brushing away the dust that you create is going to allow you to see if you've removed all of the shine from the natural nail. And the reason I don't want any shine left behind is because that usually means that there's oils left on the nail or that it's too smooth, and gel products will not stick to smooth surfaces. It's like plastic on plastic. It doesn't work. Some other nail techs would say that this is too rough of a grit to be using on the natural nail. And the only reason why I'm using it is because I have used finer grits in the past, like the 180 or the 200 grit or 250 grit. I just didn't find that I had the adhesion that I wanted because gel is a thicker product and it really needs to sink into the nail. So by making these superficial scratches in the surface of the nail, it allows the product to penetrate and to attach itself to the natural nail better. And you want to make sure that you're going with the growth of the nail and not back and forth across the nail, because this can cause more damage. Your nails only have so many layers to them. Some people have thicker nails, some people have thinner nails. But if you go across, it's almost like when you're sanding a grain of wood. If you go with it, it keeps it smooth and healthy. But if you go against it, it gets really deep and that can cause more damage. Now I'm going to use pure acetone to remove any oils or debris that might be left on the nail. I used to buy the dehydrating solution, and I found out that it's just isopropyl alcohol and acetone mixed together. And isopropyl alcohol doesn't evaporate the way that acetone does. Isopropyl alcohol actually leaves behind a residue which can cause lifting in the future. Didn't know this until I read the science behind it. So normally I use Protein Bond before I go ahead with my product. I didn't have it with me at the time. I had left it at work. So I'm just going to go ahead with my base gel. I just bought this brush not that long ago. Still haven't decided if I like it or not, but the Moira gel brush in the number 4. The only negative I have to say about it really is that the tip of the hairs are like fraying, or I don't really know how to describe it really, but this is my first step. This is Young Nails Synergy Base Gel. I discovered this a few years ago and I really like it. It's probably the best product that I've discovered so far. Before we go ahead with that, I'm going to dehydrate my nails again, and the reason I'm doing this is because if you've gone any period of time between dehydrating and putting product on, the chances are that natural oils will come back through, and that can cause the adhesion between your product and your natural nail to not be at its full capability. You really don't need a lot of this product either. It is more viscous or more runny, so it sinks into the nail, and that's all you need it for. It's just something to create a better adhesion between the natural nail and the thicker builder gel. I've also fast forwarded the application on the rest of the nails, and I'm going to fast forward the curing time as well, just so that we can save some time. So here they are, all cured and ready for the Concealer Peach. This is Young Nails Synergy Gel as well, Concealer Peach, and they have a whole line, and they have a few different lines, which is nice as well. Again, I prefer this one. It's just what I'm used to, and I like that it's a stiffer product, and you'll see that as I kind of scoop it out. I'm going to wipe off my brush so that I don't contaminate my other pot. And I just scoop a little bead and I place it onto the natural nail area and I just kind of move it around. The way a lot of people instruct it is to place the bead on the nail. That's not how I work. I kind of just do my own thing. Where this product is stiffer, it will just follow my brush where I want to put it, which is great for people who want a little bit more control. And I'm not worried about making it perfect necessarily. I just want to make it smoother so that I'm not filing as much after I'm done. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and cure that. And I tend to do one nail at a time, and that's just my personal preference when I'm doing my own nails. When I'm doing clients' nails, I do a couple at a time, or I do all four, and then I do the thumb last. And gel always has an inhibition layer or a tacky layer, so I like to wipe that off so I'm not collecting lint from this towel that I'm using. I'm going to do the rest of my nails off camera, and I'll be right back. So here they are. I've just filled them and I've wiped the inhibition layer off. And you can see that they're a little bit lumpy, a little bit thick, which is okay because I'm going to file. And I'd rather have a little bit more product than not enough, because once you've laid the shape out, it's easier to find your shape within the product itself rather than having to add more product to this top layer. And this one here you can see is a little bit heavier than the rest. And that's the one that I had to fix the lifting on. Trying to find a kind of an angle to show you the shapes from the side angle. And when you're doing nails, you should be looking at your nails from all angles. So from the front, from the side, the back, the top, and well, just all angles. Okay, and I'm going to file these smoother and into shape now. And this, I know a lot of you are like, how are you even doing this? But because I've been doing my own nails for so long, I've just found that this is the best way to stabilize my pinky and my ring finger. Because if I just hold my hand like that trying to file, I get cramps in my hands. And I don't know if that's from years of doing hair or the years of doing nails, but it's just the best position. And you'll see me do that multiple times throughout the video while I'm working on my hands. So when I start filing, I start at the cuticle again, um, just to kind of smooth that area out and make sure that it's flush to the nail. You don't want a big bulky product buildup back there, and that's because it can cause lifting. So your hair can get caught on it, clothes can get caught on it. Some people are pickers and they will pick at it. So you really want the cuticle area to be flush with the nail, but not jetting straight out. You want just a gradual apex to build, or a gradual arch. And again, just filing the shape and making sure it looks good. It's really hard for me to get the shapes right on my own hands, and that's just because it's an awkward angle. I like being able to hold your finger in one hand with a couple of fingers and then using my dominant hand to file things into shape. It takes me a while to do a set of nails because, and you can see me here comparing. I do a lot of comparing. I try to get them as even and as alike as possible on each hand. I just can't justify throwing a product on a nail and then saying, like, calling it a day. It just doesn't make sense to me. So now you can see I'm kind of checking the angle, showing you more of what the angles are, or what the shape looks like. But throughout your filing, when your nail tech is filing your nails, she should be checking your nails to make sure that they look proportionate. Also, while I have a minute, I just wanted to say that I'm not a brand ambassador by any means. I'm not getting paid for any of this, and I'm not sponsored by any of the brands that I'm showing. I just really like these brands, and from years of, like the last few years of trying to find things that work, these are just what work for me. And that buffer that you just seen, it's my favorite one. It's a soft buffer. I've just found that they last longer. It's the Artistic buffer with a 100 and 180 grit. Also, feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions about anything that I'm doing or using, and if you have any suggestions for videos in the future. Yeah, just leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. I do work full-time in a salon, so it's hard to say how often I'll be able to upload videos, but I'm going to try my best. And hopefully in the future I'll be able to get a setup rigged so that I can actually film working on clients while I'm at work so that I don't have to worry about creating content while I'm not working. Again, I'm going to file the rest of these off camera, but as you can see here, there's a nice even arch from cuticle to tip, and it's not too thick, and it's also not too thin where it's flat. So I'm going to do the rest of these and I'll be right back. And here we go. So again, I'm just trying to find angles so that you can see the shapes. I apologize if it's a little too fast, but I had to get through this so that I can make some more room for other things. Again, just looking at the shapes, making sure that they're even or even enough. I would classify the shape that I'm wearing more of an almond nail. It's not really stiletto. If you were to look up real stiletto nails, they're quite long and quite sharp. Um, and these are more of like an oval almond. And the reason why I don't leave them sharp is because I work with people all day. I don't want to be stabbing anybody, and I'm sure nobody wants me to be stabbing them. So I just have them a little bit more dull and rounded. I'm making sure that the side walls don't have any dust in them, just the cuticle area, any space that can collect dust or debris. And that's because when you start to paint nails, you really don't want there to be dust particles collecting in the brush or in the polish itself. It can just cause problems for the current set and for future sets. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands and I'll be right back. Now that my hands are clean, I'm going to wipe over my nails with acetone again. And this is to ensure that I remove all of the soap residue, any little bits of water that might be left behind. And all of this is just to help my products adhere better. So these are the colors I'm going to be using today. This is the Ugly Duckling brand, and these are the gel polish bottles in the colors number 22, number 39, and number 133. I really like these products. I just discovered them in the last, well, probably about a year now. Um, I have slowly built up my collection. I really like the coverage and the pigment that they give. Um, right now I'm going to use number 22. And it's kind of like a lilac color. And yeah, they just have really good coverage. Now, I do find for the cream colors, you absolutely do need two coats. But for some of the darker colors, I sometimes don't even need to use two coats at all. They cover flawlessly, um, and they're great for nail art. So when I do nail art, I tend to just use the gel colors themselves rather than using like a paint gel. Um, but not in all cases, just depending on what I'm doing. Even though I've been doing nails for a few years now, I still make mistakes. I still get paint on myself and I still get paint on my clients. It doesn't matter how slow I'm going or how fast I'm going. It just depends on the size of the nail. And some days I'm lucky, some days I'm not. There are definitely some really talented nail techs out there who get such a perfect coverage in one go. I don't understand it. So I'm going to cure this. These polishes are usually 30 to 90 seconds, sorry. Um, I fast forwarded the curing time for you. And then I'm going to go in with the number, this is number 39. And it's kind of like a minty teal color. So again, when I'm doing my own nails, I tend to do one or two fingers at a time, and then I go ahead and cure, and that's just so that I don't accidentally smudge. But with a client, I would normally do the four fingers and then the thumb last. But this is one coat, and it's, yeah, just beautiful. Love these colors. Love the brand. If you ever have a hard time getting the cuticle area nice and close and clean, tilt your brush to the side and slowly follow the cuticle area. Watch that you're not flooding that cuticle, but this definitely helps me. And there's definitely a misconception out there that you shouldn't get as close to the cuticle as I am here. But as long as you're prepping the cuticle area properly, this shouldn't be a problem. There shouldn't be anything there causing lifting in the future. So here I'm using the number 133 color. It's kind of like a periwinkle blue with a purple tint to it. Really beautiful color. On its own, I would describe it as almost like a Cinderella color. Not exactly sure if everybody else would agree, but that's just how I feel. And I'm going to finish off the last two nails with the number 22. In a minute, I'll show you another way that you can paint your nails at home. I'm sure a lot of you know this, but for those of you who don't, if you just place your hand on a flat surface, it'll stabilize your hand that you're painting. Then you can use your other hand that you're painting with to stabilize on the table as well or on a flat surface as well. Obviously, I didn't do that here, but just another tip that can help you if you're doing your own nails at home. Okay, so here I'm going to start putting on applying the top coat. This one is the No Wipe Top Coat by Ugly Duckling. It's no wipe, meaning there's no inhibition layer afterwards, so it's just apply, cure, and go. I really like this one too because it has awesome shine, and it doesn't dull very easily. I normally have to apply 2 coats of this on my own nails just because while I'm doing other people's nails or while I'm doing color, I tend to scratch up my own nails or stain them. And this No Wipe top coat isn't very easy to stain. It does discolor a little bit, but isn't usually too bad. Little piece of lint there from the stupid towel. And this is the Ugly Duckling matte top coat. So it has a very matte finish and it's almost silky to the touch. I really like this one. A lot of my clients like it too because it doesn't go shiny. Like some of them, after you've had your nails done for a few days, tend to go back to almost like a satiny, like silky, shiny finish. Whereas these ones, as long as they're clean, they have a true matte finish. Um, and they just feel really nice and smooth to the touch. Now this one you do have to wipe the inhibition layer off to reveal the effect. So I'm going to do a combination of the glossy top coat and the matte top coat, and my pinky, my middle finger, and my thumb are going to be glossy and the rest will be matte. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through the top coat, and I'm going to finish painting my other hand as well, and we'll come back at the end for a full reveal. And here is the finished product. Kind of simple spring colors or Eastery colors. I did switch up the color combination on the other hand, and that's just because personally I get bored if they're the same. So if you like what I did, like this video, follow for more. I will be posting again soon in the future, and yeah, thanks for watching.